Hello and welcome to Drill and Kill. That's correct, my friend. This is where we drill until we kill all the mistakes. So, without further ado, let's get on to our first problem. Alrighty, and here we go, my friends. We have 2 2/3 minus 1 5/8. So I want to create this fraction box, right? So I'm going to create a hole here. I'm going to go 1. And then I'm going to create a second one right here. And then I'm going to create a fraction box so I can make my fraction, right? And for this fraction, I want to make 2/3. So I'm cutting it into 3 parts, which means 2 lines. So I'm going to go 1 line right here, a second line there, and I get 2 out of those 3, right? So I'm going to color in 2 of the 3 parts, and voila, bam, right there, perfect. Okay, so now I just have to subtract 1 5/8, but I've got a problem because this, I'm subtracting eighths and this is cut into thirds. So before I do anything, I must find my least common multiple, right? So I'm going to use my 2 denominators, the 3 and the 8. So I'll go 3 and 8, and then I'm going to simply count by 3's. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, and 24. Bam. Then now down here with the eighths, I've got 8, 16, and 24. That 24 went crazy, didn't it? All right, at any rate, here are my common denominators, or my least common multiple, right? And I'm going to make these into 24ths, right? So they will be my common denominator. So in order to give this third and make it into 24ths, I got to cut it into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 parts. 8 parts means 7 lines. So I'm going to make this good and big so I can cut it. And here we go with 7 lines. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 lines gives us 24 parts. So watch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 1, 2, 3 gives me 24 altogether. Now that is really cool, but I still can't subtract yet because this is still an eighth and not a 24th, right? So the first thing I got to do is convert this fraction. I'm going to actually move this over here a bit, and now I'm going to multiply by the giant 1. So let's go ahead and do that here. And I'm going to make this red and do my multiplication with the giant 1. And then I'll do another giant 1 down here. And now for this top one here, I'm going to multiply just like I did here times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So the giant 1 of 8 over 8. And here we go, 8 over 8. And there we have it, my friends. So now let's go down to this one. For this fraction, I'm going to multiply by 1, 2, 3. So the giant 1 of 3 over 3. So let's plug that in. And we got 3 over 3. And now we are ready to multiply and get a new mixed number. Superb. 2 times 1 will give me 2. And then we've got 2 times 8, which is going to give me 16. And then we've got 3 times 8, which is going to give me 24. Now, let's take a moment here. And if you look, this is what I've got down here. I've got 2 holes, right? And then 16 24ths, which is represented right here. Perfect. Let's move on to this one. Okay, so here we go. And 1 times 1 is going to give me 1. Super tricky, I know. And then 5 times 3 is going to give me 15. And 8 times 3 is going to give me 24. And right there you have it. I've got 2 and 16 24ths minus 1 and 15 24ths. Let's do our subtraction first with the mathematical model. So I'm going to first subtract the 1. So I'm going to cross that one out. And then I'm going to subtract 15 out of those 24. So let's come down here. I'm going to enlarge this so it's easier to see. And let's cross them out with red, right? So I've got 1, 2, 3. That one's skinny. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, which as you see, that's what I needed to subtract. 15 out of those 24, and that left me with that 1 right there. Let's enlarge it so we can see. So I've got 1 out of the 24 here, right? And then I've also got this one right here. So my actual answer is 1 and 1/24. And that right there is your answer according to our mathematical model here, right? Well, let's finish up our algorithm and see how that works. Oops. And here we go. And I've got 16/24 minus 15/24. With the fractions, you never add or subtract the denominator because that just tells us how many parts we cut it into. You do add or subtract, in this case subtract, the numerator because that tells us the blue part that we actually get. And 16 minus 15 is going to give me 1. So I'm going to put 1 right there, and it's 1/24, right? Because I just dropped the denominators right there. And then 2 minus 1 is going to give me a whopping 1. Right there you have it, my friend, 1 and 1/24. And the beautiful thing, lovely, it agrees with our mathematical model right there. And that is how you solve this problem, my friends. Hey, if you made a mistake anywhere along the way, no worries at all, my friend. Pause the video, fix your mistake. That is the fastest way to learn. And now, let's move on to problem number 2. And here we go, my friends. 4 3/4 minus 1 2/7. So the first thing we want to do is go ahead and create our fraction boxes. So let's do that. I'm going to create 1, 2, 3, and 4 holes, right? And that's represented by this 4 right here. And now I need one that is a fraction box, right? And this one is going to be cut into 3/4. So I've got to make 4 parts, which means I'll draw 3 lines. I'm going to enlarge this just a little, and I got 1, 2, and 3 lines. And now I get 3 out of those 4, right? So I'm going to color in 3 of these. Let's do that right now, and bam, there we have it. Super. So 4 and 1, 2, 3 out of 4. Superb. Now what I'll have to do is subtract these, but this is asking me to subtract 7ths, and I've cut this into 4ths, right? So before I do anything else, I must find my least common multiple, right? So I'm going to write 4 here and 7 here. And now I just have to count by 4s and 7s, and let's do that right here. So 4, 8, 12, then 16, then 20, then 24, and then 28. And now if I count by 7s, I get 7, 14, 21, and bam, 28 right there. And 28 is our least common multiple, right? Perfect. That means I need to cut this box right up here into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 parts. So 7 parts means I'm drawing 6 lines. And let's go ahead and do that. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 lines. Should give me 7 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 times 1, 2, 3, 4 gives me a total of 28. And that's exactly what I needed, right? So now I still have a problem because I'm wanting to subtract 1 and 2/7, but this is cut into 28ths, right? So I need to multiply both of these by the giant one and change those into different sized mixed numbers, right? So let's go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to multiply and multiply by the giant 1, and this one by the giant 1. And now for this first one here, I'm going to multiply it just like I did the box by 7, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So the giant one of 7 over 7. And we can just plug that right there and there. And then for this second one here, I'm going to multiply it by the giant one of 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 over 4. Let's do that. 4 over 4. Now that's going to give me two new fractions, right? Or mixed numbers, rather. 4 times the giant 1 is going to give me 4. And that's simple, right? So 4. And then 3 times 7 is going to give me 21 over here. So, all right, 21. And then 4 times 7 is going to give me 28. And that, my friends, is represented right here because I've got 21 28ths, right? So now let's move on and do this part here. And we're going to go 1 times 1. Well, that's going to give me 1. And then 2 times 4 is going to give me 8. And 7 times 4 is going to give me 28, right? So now I am ready. I'm just going to subtract this portion down here, okay? So I'm going to get rid of 1 and 8 28ths. So let's go ahead and do that. If I get rid of 1, I'm going to cross this one out here. And then I'm going to get rid of 8 of the 28ths. So I'll get rid of 8 of these. Let's enlarge this. And let's use red because it's more fun. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. That's going to leave me with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and let's enlarge this so we can write it neatly. 13 28ths. Lovely. So that right there is our answer, my friends. I've got 13 28ths here and these 3 here. So 1, 2, 3. So my answer is 3 and 13 28ths. And let's see how that agrees with our algorithm here, okay? So let's enlarge this a bit. And here we're ready to rock and roll. So I've got 21 minus 8. Well, what I can really do here is I got some trouble coming. I can borrow from this, turn that into a 1, and turn this 1 into 11. And 11 minus 8 is going to give me 3. So I'm going to just draw my line and write 3. And then right here, 1 minus nothing is going to give me 1. And then I'm going to take care of my denominators. Now, my denominators are never add or subtract because that just tells us how many we cut the box into, right? So I'm going to just drop the 28th. And then I got 4 minus 1, which is going to give me 3. And I get 3 and 13 28ths. And as you see, my friends, that agrees with our illustration or our mathematical model right there. And that is always lovely, my friends. All right, so, hey, here's the deal. If you made a mistake anywhere along the way, no worries at all, my friends. Pause the video, fix your mistake. That is the fastest way to learn. And now, let's move on to problem number 3. And here we go, my friends. 4 and 4/5 minus 3 and 5/6. So here's our first plan of action. First, we must create our fraction boxes. So I've got 1, 2, 3, and 4 holes, right? And then I got to create that all-powerful fraction box. Thank you so kindly, my friends. And this box is going to get cut into 5 parts, and I get 4 out of those 5, right? So 5 parts means 4 lines. I'm going to enlarge this so I have a little bit more room. And I got 1. Whoops, let's do it in black. 1, 2, 3, and 4 lines gives me 5 parts. And I'm going to get 4 out of those 5. I get 4 out of 5. So I'm going to color in 4 of those bad boys, right? So let's go ahead and just, bam. There you have it. Now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 5, and that is perfect. Now I want to subtract 3 and 5, 6, but the problem is this is cut into fifths, and I got to subtract 6, and that just don't work, my friend. That do not work. Let's write our LCM, which stands for our least common multiple. I got 5 here, and I've got 6 right there, and we're going to start by counting by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. And then here I got 6s, so 6, 12, 18, 24, and 30. Bingo. Right there is our least common multiple, and it is 30. Thank you so kindly. Okay, so that means I'm going to break this box into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts. 6 parts means 5 lines. I need to make it pretty big so I can make good lines here. And here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 lines gives me 6 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is 30 altogether. And that's exactly what I want. Now, I still have a problem though, because this is now cut into 30ths, but I'm trying to subtract this fraction here, which is 5 6, right? So I need to first convert this fraction. I'm going to actually take this fraction and move it a little bit more this way. And now I'm ready to multiply and change my fractions, or my mixed numbers. So that means I need to multiply both of these by the giant 1. Da, 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 da. All right, whoa, come back here. Okay, so now I'm going to create my giant 1 for both of those. And there's 1, and now I've got another giant 1, and there's our second one. So now let's go ahead and see what we're going to multiply by. For this first one, I'm going to multiply by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So the giant 1 of 6 over 6. And that is lovely, right? So let's go ahead and just move that. And 6 over 6 gives me a giant 1. Now for the second one, this one right here, I'm going to multiply by the giant 1 of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to write 5 over 5 right there, and that's going to give me a couple of new mixed numbers. Thank you very much. Okay, so here we have 4 times the giant 1. Well, that's going to give me 4. And then I've got 4 times 6, which will give me 24. And then I have 5 times 6, which will give me 30. And then I've got 3 times the giant 1, which will give me 3. And then 5 times 5, which will give me 25. So I drop my 2 and my 5. And then I've got 6 times 5, which will give me 30. And 30 right there is lovely. So let's take a look here. And now if you notice, this fraction, which used to be 4 and 4 fifths, is now 4 and 24 30ths. And that's represented here with these 4 and the 24 out of 30. This one now is 3 and 25 30ths. I'm going to do here first. I'm going to do the mathematical model first, and then we'll do the algorithm. So let's get rid of these 3 first. So I'm going to just cross this out. Let me use a red color though. And I'll cross 1, 2, and 3 of these out, right? And now, that's the 3. Now I'm going to get rid of 25 of these, and let's do that here. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Uh-oh, I don't have another one here, right? Because that's not there. So I got to cut this one up exactly how this one is cut up. So I'm going to actually enlarge this so it's a little easier to write. And then I'm going to just copy these same lines. So I've got one line here. Oops, I want to do that in black. So I've got one line right here, and then another one here, another one here, and another one here. And then I've got these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, right? So I'm going to go 1 and 2, 3, 4, and 5 lines. So now that should give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So once again, I got 30 parts here. So now I'm going to get rid of just one more of those parts. And now, as you see, I have just gotten rid of 25 parts, right? Now that's going to leave just what I've got here left. So let's go ahead and enlarge it again. And I'm going to now count up the parts I've got. So let's use purple this time. And I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's a crazy 14. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, and let's make this big, and we got 29 out of those 30, right? So that is actually our answer, right? We can see it right there. So our answer is 29 30ths, and bingo, that's how it looks from the mathematical model. Let's come on over here and see what happens when we finish our algorithm right here, right? So now, I'm going to draw my line, and here I've got 4 minus 5. I got trouble coming, don't I? Because I can't take 24 and subtract 25 from it. So what I'm going to have to do is borrow from this 4 here. I'm going to borrow from the 4 and turn that into a 3. And then I'm going to add another 30 30ths, right? And that's really kind of cool, right? So now I'm working with 30 minus 25 would give me 5, plus 24 would give me 29, or you could go 24 plus 30 is going to give you 54. Let's just do that, right? So I'm going to write it right up here. 54 30ths. If I add these two together, I get 54 30ths. 4 minus 5, I got trouble coming. So once again, I'm going to borrow from this 5. I'm going to do this in black. And turn that into a 4. And then this will turn into 14. So now 14 minus 5 is indeed going to give me 9. And then I got 4 right here. Whoops, there's my pointer. 4 minus 2 is going to give me another 2, right? And that's going to be over 30 because you never add or subtract your denominators, right? In this case, I'm using this one. So I just dropped my 30 down here. And the reason we do that, once again, is because this is what tells us what we've cut that box into, right? Into 30ths. And then we've got 3 minus 3, which is 0, so we are done. And as you see, 29 30ths agrees with our mathematical model right there, and that is always lovely, my friends. Hey, if you made a mistake anywhere along the way, no worries at all. Pause the video, fix your mistake. That is the fastest way to learn. Until next time, which is going to be in about 1 second, I hope you have a great day. So now, let's move on to problem number 4. And here we go. 5 1/6 minus 1 1/9. So let's go ahead and first create our 5 1/6. So I'm going to move this over here and start creating. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I'm going to create my fraction box right here. And this one is going to be 1/6. 6 parts means 5 lines. So here I go. I'm going to enlarge this a bit and go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 lines gives me 6 parts, and I get just 1 out of those 6, right? So I'm going to color in one of them, and we'll do that right there. Perfect. And now I have 1 out of 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, right? And that's what I want, right? So now I'm ready to subtract, but oh, no, I'm not, because this is a 9th, and this is cut into a 6th. So I need to find my least common multiple, and I'll do that right here. I find my LCM, and I've got 6 and I've got 9, right? So let's go ahead and count by 6s. 6, 12, and 18. And then I got 9s, 9 and 18, and bingo, right there, I have my least common multiple, right? So it's going to be 18ths. That means this box here is going to be broken into 1, 2, 3 parts. 3 parts means 2 lines. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and now I have 1, 2, 3 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, which is 18, and that's exactly what I want, right? Well, now this one's cut, but this is still a 9th, not an 18th. So let's change both of these into 18ths, and I'm going to do that by multiplying by the giant 1, right? So here we go. For this first one, I'm going to multiply by 1, 2, 3, so the giant 1 of 3 over 3. Let's go ahead and make that giant 1. So multiply giant 1 of 3 over 3. Super. Let's see what we're going to multiply this one by. So down here, I'm going to multiply this fraction by 1, 2, so the giant 1 of 2 over 2. And that sounds fun. So multiply giant 1 and 2 over 2. Super. Now I'm ready to multiply these bad boys, and 5 times the giant 1 is going to give me 5 again, right? So I'm going to just write 5. And then 1 times 3 is going to give me 3 over here. And then 6 times 3 is going to give me 18. And if you notice, that's exactly what I've got right here, 3 out of 18, right? Now let's move on to this one, and here we go. I got 1 times the giant 1 is going to give me 1. And then 1 times 2 will give me 2 over here. And 9 times 2 will give me 18 right here, right? And now let's go ahead and we're ready to subtract, right? So for this first one, I'm going to subtract 1 whole. So I'm going to just cross this one out right here. And then I'm going to get rid of 2 out of these 18. 2 of these. So let's enlarge this, and I'm going to cross out 1, 2, and that's going to leave just 1 out of those 18 left, right? So I get 1/18 left. Oops, that was kind of sloppy. Let's do that again. 1/18 left. Perfect, much better. But I also have these. So I've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. So my actual answer is 4 and 1/18. And that is lovely, my friend. Hey, let's see how that looks for our algorithm. I'm going to continue this line straight across. And now with the fraction here, I'm going to take 3 minus 2. I am going to subtract my numerators because that's the blue part that we actually get. 3 minus 2 is going to give me 1. So I'm going to write 1 right there. And then you never add or subtract your denominators because that just tells us how many parts we cut all of this into, right? So I'm going to just drop the 18th there. Perfect. And then that's a 5. Don't get mistaken. That is a 5. 5 minus 1 gives me 4. And 4 and 1/18 agrees with our illustration right there of 4 and 1/18. And that is always lovely, my friends. Hey, that is it for this video. If you made a mistake anywhere along the way, pause the video, fix your mistake. That is the fastest way to learn. Until next time, I hope you have a fantastic day. I'll see you soon.